A selfie with me. Hey everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing wonderful. I'm honored to be today with Congressman Mark. What's your last name?
Punjabi, Siljander.
Sojinder Singh, yeah! Alright. And he was telling an interesting story. When he used to be a congressman, you were saying?
Well, I lived a very high lifestyle, but in the mind it was very low. It was narrow-minded. I didn't like Muslims, didn't like the Quran, did not like the other political party, the opposition party, didn't like any of them, and did everything we could to hurt people. I mean, not physically so much, but politically. And then one day, as a strong Christian, I started thinking about Jesus and how he said there's one commandment I want you to follow. Just one. To love God, and I really love God. I did. And he said the second half is to love your neighbor who could be the other political party or a Muslim or someone other than someone like me. And that's when the shock occurred, determining that I was a half-breed follower of Jesus, loving God but hating my neighbor. So that's when I believe that the power of Allah, the Holy Spirit, the Ruh HaQuddus is what it's called in the Quran, sort of came all over me and urged a change of thinking, a new paradigm, if you will. So I began struggling. Talk about jihad. This was a big struggle to love the other opposition party, to love Muslims, to start reading the Quran and studying it. So it was a very, very difficult process, but it made me a better person. And today, I'm learning to engage in this process. And what's the concept? See, people say, who cares, right? Who cares? Who cares? We've taken this process of learning how to love your enemies and people you don't agree with, and we've applied it to my own personal life at home with my own children to reconcile with my daughter and I, who were ripped apart because of personal views were different. Isn't that stupid? Why would you rip yourself from your own family because she thought differently? Well, use these principles I was learning from Jesus and the Quran, and we became inseparable. We still have challenges, but at least we're talking and loving and eating together and praying together. So I decided to apply this in a war overseas. 7 wars have ended over 18 years because of this procedure. Think of this for a minute. If you could end one war, you could die a happy person. How about 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7? And one was a genocide in Western Sudan. And we've gotten 50 people out of prisons that were sentenced to life in places like Iran, Afghanistan, Sudan, Central African Republic. So we believe that this is a miracle, literally, ayah Allah, a miracle from God, that He's given us the insight, and we're slowly learning. We're on this journey, this straight path, how to use this model and this idea to open our minds a little wider and be much more effective people in family and business, in our passion and calling in life, and impacting our communities and even the world.
What's an evangelical Christian? What does it mean? Do they take evangelists, or do they avenge people, or what does that mean?
No, evangelist is someone who shares the gospel of Jesus, Christianity, aggressively, and wants people to typically convert to the Christian way. That's not always the case, but that's generally what it would mean. So someone who's an evangelical is someone who believes that the Bible is the Word of God. Every word is inspired by God, much like Muslims believe the Quran, every word is inspired, and struggles to live by it. So evangelicals are very good people. They really love God. I was an evangelical at one time, loved God, but I didn't, as I told you, didn't like my neighbor. So that was the big change in my heart. And right now, I don't like to define myself an evangelical or anything like that. I'm not against it, I just want to be a struggling follower of Jesus and not be put in a box where you can say, oh, he believes this or he believes that. So I can be open to share with anyone listening, share our thoughts together and listen to your comments and your pushbacks, actually. I'm happy to receive pushbacks, respectful, and discuss these issues together.
Interesting. Now, 1.5 billion people of the planet are Muslims.
Right.
Maybe 400 to 500 million of them are on Facebook. If you think people would, I actively request people to go out and connect with people who are of different faith, because most of the Muslim countries are not allowed to come, travel anywhere, almost anywhere, especially except the Arabs, maybe. Not even the Arabs, just Saudi Arabia or Dubai people. So what are these Christians in your mind scared of? So how should we approach them? How should we start the conversation?
Good. That's a very good question. Muslims can make a huge difference in the mentality of Christians and how they think about Islam, Muhammad, the Quran, and so forth. What changed me was actually starting to read the Quran. I'm not saying I'm a Muslim. I'm just saying when I started reading the Quran, it wasn't as bad. I thought it was a terrible book, and it said horrible things about Jesus. But I found it really doesn't say that. And even the areas that seemingly are different than the Bible can be rectified, or common ground can be sought by looking at the original language. What's the original language of the Quran? Arabic. What's the original language of the New Testament? Well, Jesus gave the gospel in Aramaic. Aramaic language, people say, who cares about Aramaic? But it's a similar language to Arabic. So he used many similar words as the Quran. For example, he said God was Allah, where it's Allah in the Quran. Just an accent different. He said ruh for spirit. What is the word spirit in the Quran? Ruh. Exactly the same. He said to love God with Rahman. What is it in the Quran? Rahman. So there's thousands of similar words because they're similar languages. So what does that mean? That means we can start understanding each other better. In summary, I believe that Islam, which is an interpretation of the Quran, and Christianity, which is interpretation of the Bible, clash quite a bit. But when I read the Quran and the Bible in the Aramaic and Arabic languages, I see little to no clash at all. Now think about this. Muslims, Christians have very different viewpoints, it seems, but the Quran and the Bible do not. So what does that tell us? If what I'm saying is true, that means the leaders of Islam and Christianity over time have decided to interpret their respective holy books in a way that would cause it to crash, because in unity, people can't control each other. In unity, people become a different monolithic movement where political and religious leaders want to control people. And it's an old saying, in division there's control. So as long as we're divided, people can control us. But as we become united, I don't mean one religion. I mean if we're united in heart and spirit, and say, wow, instead of looking at a Muslim, you're an infidel, and a Muslim looking at a Christian, you're an infidel. Think if we could look at each other as brothers and just in a largely common faith. And I'll just end with this. There are 56,000, think of that, 56,000 sects and denominations of Christianity. There are dozens of different forms of Islam, believe it or not, as well. So we don't have to agree. There's no way we can become one in the sense of religion. So let's become one in friendship and brotherhood, and seeking how we can expand common ground on what we would call provocative areas.
When we see a John Smith on Facebook and we want to send them a message, what should we write to them?
I would say when you write to a Christian, ask them questions.
Should we just go out, hey, why do you believe in Jesus? Or should we start with...
No, it's not necessary. You can just ask them, what do they mean by the Trinity? Because that's one of the areas of disagreement.
But those are deeper questions. I would say, go out and say, hi, John, how are you doing? I was looking at your wall and I found you an interesting person. My name is Rihan. I'm from Pakistan. Would you like to be my can I talk to you for a few minutes whenever you have time? You know, that's like opening. You know, how do you break the ice on that? Otherwise, if I go on Trinity and my name is Muhammad Ahmed, you know, the guy will just press the block button and I'm gone. Because he's scared of me as much as I'm scared of him.
All right, that's a very good point. And we usually don't engage people that directly. First, you want to get to know people.
Right.
Our whole philosophy, when I say our, I mean Bridges to Common Ground philosophy, is first we want to get to know a person. And if you can break bread physically, it's great. If you can't, you can actually have a meal virtually, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Hey, let's have lunch tomorrow. Well, I live in Pakistan. You live in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's all right. We can do it through Facebook. We can do it through Skype.
We can do a video call.
With video call under any medium. And we could eat together, talk together, even pray together in your own way. You don't have to get involved in any theological issues. Ask about your family. Ask about your job. It's common sense. Ask about what hurts you have and what struggles. Ask about your joys, what makes you happy, what makes you fulfilled, what are your passions. Just start getting to know each other. And just as if you're both spiritual people, let the Spirit just lead you into the conversations as they develop. But if you get to know one Christian, gets to know one Muslim, and you had 100 million Muslims doing that, with 100 million Christians, the world would change. And you don't have to have 1,000 people in your in one video conference. Just one would do it. If one person, like my friend said, if you can stand up, you can lift one leg, but don't try to lift both your legs. You can't do it, right? That's what you said. So let's just stand up and lift one leg and see where it goes.
Wonderful. I have a gazillion questions, but it seems like you and I are very, very, very alike. And I'm so happy to meet you today. I'm so honored that you gave me so much of your time. We have been hanging out since 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I don't believe this. It's like love at first sight.
Yeah.
But I'm really thankful for the work you do. I would love to invite you for a weekly show with me so we can just hang out together and forget about who's watching, forget about learning from each other, because that's how that's what we are doing right now. And if more people were watching us, they would automatically learn something. So I stopped trying to teach anyone anything anymore. It doesn't work for me. I try to just learn myself and just make it visually available for other people to, if they want to watch it, they're fine. At least I would learn something new, and I would love to become more like you, because you're such a learned person and I could learn so much from you. And whatever it comes to technology side, whatever I know is open to be, share that information with you. I would not say I can teach you anything.
Rehan, you've already been teaching us things. So the feeling's quite mutual. I want to learn from you. And I want my 2 sons to learn from you as well. And you have a great heart.
There's one son.
There's one of them.
Hey, great.
Hey, Internet.
Somebody's asking a question which I wanted to ask.
Please.
Somebody's asking, how did you ended up meeting the congressman? So I want to answer that. I friended him a year plus ago. I don't know why, probably through his organization. I did not know he's a senator or a congressman or whatever. Today I came to the city and a friend of mine introduced me to him, and it turned out that we were connected on Facebook already. However, if you go to and Google the congressman list, every single congressman of your own country, which is Pakistan, and the United States, is emailable. You can email them, you can Facebook them, you can Twitter to them, and you can start having that conversation also. So a lot of people in Pakistan hate America. They don't hate. Why do they hate America? Because you know the answer for that. They don't know America. They know America through maybe Baywatch. Maybe that's not the America. There's no There's no woman running around in bikini over here anywhere actually.
Well, please go to our Bridges to Common Ground Facebook page.
Yeah.
And just get to know each other. Bridges to Common Ground Facebook.
Yeah.
And we'll get to know each other better. And perhaps my ignorance of you will be diminished, and if whatever you feel negatively toward me or America will be diminished. But I'm not here to be an advocate for a country, more an advocate for interpersonal relationships.
Right. So if the people, because people of Pakistan, just like anywhere else, are very, very politically inclined towards watching a lot of political news. You can ask the tuk-tuk driver or the rickshaw driver, and he can tell you the whole thing which the prime minister is doing wrong, except his own job. So I would encourage you to go and write to your congressman, not your congressman, but all the congressmen in the world, and make friends with them and let them know about your country, about your city. Show videos to them, just like you meet other people, other human beings.
Well, let's start with yours truly.
Yeah, there you go.
We've met. You may not know other U.S. congressmen or parliament members, but we've known each other now. We're meeting.
Right, here you go. So here's a congressman for you, and I've tagged him already. You can go ahead and Facebook him. You can inbox him the questions you have. He might not be able to answer immediately, but he will take his time because he is giving us his time, and I would encourage him to come once a week online on his own profile just to answer those questions, because it's like, as I was saying earlier, I do this because I'm like archiving myself. I'm putting it out. I wish Jesus and Prophet Muhammad actually made those videos and I could just watch them. I mean, there would be no incorrect interpretations, right? You could just watch them, and hopefully technologically we can do something about that in the future also. Anyways, thank you so much, Mark. Do you have?
Shukriya.
Thank you so much.